All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully, you are all doing well today. Yeah, I got my first cup of coffee for the day as well.
Troy take a team lead loadout as well.
Okay, Sergeant.
Lutz take a rifleman with an AT4, and Zuta take a grenadier and pick up a law as well.
Yes, Sergeant.
Make sure you all have your vectors, radios, everything you need to go on the field. Earplugs as well. I know you guys forgot those yesterday.
Yeah, now all of my classes are grayed out, not just rifleman.
Sergeant Myers, I need to go in this store for the arsenal.
Yep. Even if they're grayed out, you can double click on them. Sometimes they do load.
Yeah, I can't get it to work.
Right. What you need to do after this class is you need to go to
Shit.
the weapons server. I'll give you the password again. You need to rebuild your loadouts from the ground up using a 506 arsenal.
I want
This is a
Arma to let you
506
play
arsenal
online.
it doesn't like.
Uh, Not sure. Have you verified your game files on Steam?
Weapons, magazine
I
ammo,
have something
safety
screwed
file,
up.
etc.
Yeah, I did not want to stop fucking playing last night.
I do not have
Did you
a
say a
complete
long
loadout.
or a mall?
Got that fucking beast ass chest piece and those
Did you
gloves,
say a
and
long? Like
got that
LAW?
fucking monster hammer.
Yes, Sergeant.
Sergeant, I do not have a team leader loadout.
Uh, right, Rodriguez, can you go ahead and drop Troy in there? Give him your loadout.
Yes, Sergeant. Give me a second. I'm putting all this stuff in the vest. There you go. That's everything. Something's wrong with my mouse. It's like not even centered on where it should be. Has that ever
To
happened to
verify
you?
your game files, if you go to your Steam library and click on Arma 3, and then right click and go down to Properties, and then it should be a tab, I think it's labeled as Local Files.
My mouse is no longer
Uh,
pointing.
you click on that, and there should be a button that says vocal.
I think Alt Tab.
Oh, what is it? Verify local cache or verify local file, something like that.
Sergeant Myers, is the frequency we're going to be on 100 and 100.1?
We'll give you frequencies a little bit.
Yeah,
We're
pretty
about to
much,
start.
Tin Man.
Okay.
Due to condition your rifle, take your MVGs off. When you're on
Damn it, now I
base,
just want to play some
control the
Divinity.
environment, condition 4, magazine out, no round in the chamber, safety on.
Where am I able to get a backpack? It's not in the inventory.
Over bag.
Should be day 2. Did I fucking type the wrong day in? Because I'm a jackass. I did type the wrong day in. Because I'm a jackass. Fix that.
Oh yeah.
So you pick up the right bag. The Eagle A3.
There we go.
OEFCP.
Private, you were to use the arsenal at the computers over there. This is ours.
Private Bonder, it's alright. The computers aren't working right now.
No, it's not browse local files. It's fucking verify
Work on it.
game files or some shit like that.
Head out.
Yeah, I know. Code pointing out the
Right,
obvious.
gents, I'm gonna let you know now. Well, first sergeant.
Hey, Goku.
I'm sure you will. That fucking around with loadouts at this stage of OSUT is not fucking acceptable. You need to have that shit fixed. Be able to get in the server, get your loadout, and be ready to go within 5 minutes. So tomorrow, come day 3, this will not happen. Everyone understands?
Yes,
Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Sergeant.
I've plenty of time. I've given you guys a server to unfuck your loadouts. Need any help? You can message myself, First Sergeant. Plenty of people around the servers that will help you in the TeamSpeak if you need someone to give you a loadout.
First Sergeant.
Yeah.
Name's doing the unknown thing.
God damn it. It's fine. Hey, Jill. Alright, that door just fucking opened itself. Hey, right on, Goku. Alright, gentlemen. We're gonna get today going. We're gonna start this off with something you guys are gonna be doing pretty much every time you get in the server, not necessarily in this exact fashion, but we're gonna get you guys through your PCCs, your pre-combat checks. Alright, now, when we're in a training environment, we do that by getting you guys lined up in formation, and then you go through your radio checks, make sure everybody has their earplugs in, set buddy teams, all of that good shit. Now, when you line up in formation, you just line up in a basic file, which is something we're going to be going over here shortly. But for now, I want you guys to make a straight single file line right in front of me. Team leader in the front, AR second, Grenadier third. Why do we not have an AR?
Oh, I gave 2 team leaders out. Private Troy, go ahead and grab an AR loadout. And private zoo to drop your 8. Go ahead and drop your AT4. Not your AT4, your law. Go throw it in the box.
Troy, condition your weapon in night vision.
Alright, now let's see how well you pay attention to detail. Troy, you got a radio?
Sir?
Say again?
No, sir, Sergeant. Radios are not available in the arsenal.
They should be in this equipment box. Yes, they are.
If you just grabbed a radio, and now you are going to reload your loadout, let's take a second here to use a little bit of logic. When you built your loadout in recruit training, what are the 2 things that were not put in your loadout? The answer is a radio and vectors. So you have to get your radio and your vector after your loadout, just like you were instructed to do in recruit training.
My stuff is grayed out again.
Come over here to this door. Go in there, use that box. I don't know why there's a uniform and a soft cap on my fucking floor, but it better not happen again. Alright, so, now that the fumble fuck of loadouts is done and over with, I'm gonna make this clear. When you guys go through recruit training, you're given a base loadout. You then build each of your 4 loadouts off of that base loadout. Those loadouts contain every single piece of kit that you need, with the exception to a radio and a vector. I know this because I'm the one that wrote the fucking document that it's right off of. So, if your loadout is grayed out, or you're missing earplugs, or a fucking compass, there is one of 2 possible situations. Either A, one of my recruit instructors, who was teaching your class, is not doing his job, and considering my instructors have been doing their job for months, if not over a year, I find that highly unlikely. Or B, you were not paying the fuck attention when they were explaining to you in great detail every single piece to put into your loadout. So with that being said, those exact same loadouts are in the student reference document that are posted in the Phase 2 boards. So, if your loadouts are fucked up, or you are missing gear, I highly suggest you take a little fucking initiative, actually look at the documentation that is provided for you, and rebuild your loadouts. Is everybody tracking?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Now, you may think I'm a bit of an asshole for coming down on you so hard in this situation. However, I would like you to factor into the point that we are now 20 minutes into fucking class. And we have done dick all. That may not mean anything to you, but considering my own free time is fucking valuable, and I value the free time of the two men standing behind me even higher than my own, I consider you the asshole for being ill fucking prepared for a class that you knew was coming well ahead of time. So these type of fuck-ups will not continue to happen. Is that understood?
Yes, First
Yes, First
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
And what we're going to do from here, we're going to head out, take a look at some formations. Formations are the most commonly used formations within this unit. And we're going to take you over the strengths and weaknesses of each one of them and go into some detail as to who to goes where and so on. But before we head out there, we are going to get these pre-combat checks done. Now, that being said, when you guys line up in formation in a training setting, line up just like you are now in a file. Generally, you're going to have another team right next to you because we don't operate in single fire teams. We operate in a squad consisting of 2 fire teams. So you're going to be shoulder to shoulder with the guys next to you, and you're going to be nut to butt with the guy in front and behind you. So close up that gap. And now everybody take a knee. Now this is the formation you're going to get into when we're in a training environment. If we're in a deployment area, we don't line up in formation. But in the training setting, we do. So once you're lined up like this, this is when you're going to go through your pre-combat checks. Like I said, you're going to do, each guy's going to do his radio check. You're going to make sure everybody's got their earplugs in. And you're going to set your battle buddies. Your battle buddies, that's the one dude that you are with at all times. You do not leave his side. You may as well be fucking Siamese twins, because you do not go anywhere alone. That being said, before we get going on the radio checks, the natural buddy teams, if you will, are the team leader and the automatic rifleman, and then the grenadier and the rifleman. Alright? So that's the way you guys are going to be running. So Rodriguez and Troy, you're one buddy team. Susie and Lutz, you're the other buddy team. Now the other thing other decision a team leader needs to make is who is going to be his 2IC, or second in command. Right, that's the guy that steps up on squad net should the team leader get injured and go down. Alright, so Rodriguez, who's your 2IC?
Lutz is my 2IC.
Alright, good job not making the rookie fucking mistake of trying to make your battle buddy your 2IC. Now, got your 2IC set, got your buddy team set. Now go through and do your radio checks. Keep in mind, team leaders, you only go by your calling station, not your name. So you only referred to as Alpha. Alright, so to do our radio checks, your guys' team net is going to be 100.1. That is the one radio frequency all 4 of you are going to be on, 100.1. Now Rodriguez, since you're the team leader, you have to be on 2 channels. You're the only one that will be on 2 channels. So your primary net is going to be 100.1. Your additional net will be 100. That will be your squad net. That is how you will talk to actual, your squad leader. You are the only one, again, that will be on frequency 100. Should you go down, then Lutz needs to get himself on 100 with a quickness and relay up that you have gone down. Alright, everybody tracking on this?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Alright. go ahead and get your fucking radios set up. Do your radio checks on TeamNet. Once all 4 of you have done a radio check on TeamNet, Rodriguez, you can then do a radio check on SquadNet with Actual.
To any station this net, this is Rodriguez, Private Rodriguez on frequency 100.1, requesting radio check, over.
Private Rodriguez, this is Private Troy, read you loud and clear, over.
Roger, out.
Any station this net, this is Private Troy, radio check, frequency 100.1, over.
Private Troy, this is Private Sasweta. Good radio check, over.
Name Charlie, out.
Any station this net, this is Private Sasweta, radio check, frequency 100.1, over.
Private Zazuza, this is Private Lutz, read you loud and clear. Frequency 100.1, over.
Roger, out.
Any station this net, this is Private Lutz, radio check, frequency 100.1, over.
Private Lutz, this is Private Rodriguez, read you loud and clear, over.
Roger, out.
To any station this net, this is this is Alpha, requesting radio check on frequency 100, over.
Alpha, this is Actual, read you Lima Charlie on frequency 100, over.
Roger, out.
Well, for how bad you guys fucked up in the first 20 minutes, you almost fucking impressed me. Rodriguez, good job catching yourself and making sure that you use your calling station rather than using your name.
Thank you, First Sergeant.
Now, that's something that it takes a little bit of time to get used to. Once you get into a leadership position where you start using your calling station instead of your name, you'll be in the habit of people only referring to you by your calling station on the radio, and you'll only refer to yourself by your calling station on the radio. That includes when you do radio checks on TeamNet. Pretty much all team leaders, they don't even use their name on TeamNet. They just say Alpha or Bravo, whatever their team is. They don't even refer to themselves by their own name. Just because of getting into that habit of using your calling station rather than your name. So, what we're going to do now, like I said, head out to the movement formation range, show you guys some formations that we use here, so follow me. Alright, you're going to walk up to the flagpole here, use your scroll wheel, head to the movement formations range. Alright, follow me up the tower. Alright, go ahead and orient yourselves out so you can look to the northwest there. Everybody see my red box? Over to your left.
Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, for sure.
Alright, that red box is going to be your point of reference for the formation that we're talking about. So, first formation we're going to cover that you see right there next to the red box is the fire team file. You guys already have a little bit of experience with this now. So, fire team file. As far as who goes where in this formation. Again, up front, it's going to be the team leader. Number 2 man's the AR, number 3 is the grenadier, last man is the rifleman. Well, that being said, this formation, just like any other, is entirely fluid as far as placement. And believe me, if you have a good point man, you're going to want him up there. Doesn't fucking matter if he's the team leader or if he's the fucking AR. If he's a good point man, put him on point. Right, all of these formations are fluid. So this is not necessarily set in stone that the team leader has to be on point or whatever. The rifleman can be on fucking point if he's the best point man. That being said, next thing to pay attention to with this formation is spacing. Just like any formation, spacing is incredibly important. What you see here is pretty much the absolute bare minimum, with exception to when we're moving in mount situations, which is stuff will go on later. The spacing of your formation is going to be entirely dependent upon your terrain. All right, so if you're in a large open field, you're going to spread that spacing way out compared to what you see there. All right, you're basically doing this to try and keep yourselves a little bit safer, because with spacing like what you see right here, single mortar round could easily drop all 4 team members. Single fucking 40 Mike could probably drop all 4 guys. So you want to keep as much spacing as possible while maintaining visual contact with all 4 members of your team, or all 3 other members of your team. But again, that's going to be dictated by your terrain. So if you're in a large open field, you can spread that out. You don't have anything hindering your vision. If you're in a dense forest, you're going to close that spacing in so that you can see everybody. Now, as far as pros and cons to this formation, the biggest pro of Fireteam File is its rate of movement. You can move very, very quickly with a Fireteam File, because you're all just moving in a straight vertical line. Now it's as well very good for moving through possible minefields, right? If you never heard the phrase, don't blaze a trail when it comes to military, don't blaze a trail is essentially so you're not stepping on a fucking mine, right? You follow the footsteps of the man in front of you. Fireteam File is a must for that. Now it also has very good security to the flanks. However, when it comes to the cons, biggest con of the Fireteam File is that it has a very poor security to the front and to the rear. All right, anybody have a guess as to why there's shit security to the front and to the rear?
Only one guy can fire to the front and rear?
Pretty much exactly. There's only one guy in the front that can fire, one guy in the rear that can fire. 2 guys in the center can't really do dick. They can't shoot through their buddy to hit the enemy. Now, where the exception to this is oftentimes when we're moving in a town, in Mout, when that formation stops for a second or whatever, generally the point man and the last man will crouch. That way, the number 2 and the number 3 man, should a target present itself to the front or to the rear, they can turn and engage over the top of the point man or the last man. Now, that being said, even outside of a mount environment, when this formation pauses and goes into what's known as a short halt, that last man, that rifleman, he has rear security. So he's going to turn around and cover the rear. Now, that doesn't mean that when that formation starts moving, that doesn't mean that he's running backwards through the fucking woods. All right? You turn front and you cover a sector just like everybody else. But if that formation stops for even a second, you stop and spin around. Normally, you're just covering a sector, looking back over your shoulder every now and then, making sure nothing's trying to come up behind you. Now, when it comes to who's covering what sector, the point man, he's responsible for the front 180. He's got the biggest responsibility, hands down. Number 2 man is going to cover either 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock. It's entirely up to him. All right, so he's going to cover either the right or the left. If the number 2 man is covering 2 o'clock, then the number 3 man is going to cover 10 o'clock. If the number 3 man is covering 10 o'clock, then the last man is going to cover 2 o'clock. All right, you just alternate it back and forth. And then when the formation stops, everybody maintains their sector except for the last man. He spins around and covers the 6. In a short halt, or in a long halt, you'll break your formation and set up 360. And that stuff we'll go over here in a little bit. Next, follow the little red box. We have our fire team wedge. Now, the fire team wedge is probably the most commonly used formation when it comes to a fire team. And that is because it is probably the strongest formation. When it comes to pros, it has very good security to the front and to the flanks. You are able to have a decent rate of movement. Not as fast as the fire team file, so that's somewhat of a con for the fire team wedge, but you're still not necessarily slow when moving in the fire team wedge. Now, when it comes to who goes where in the wedge, basically think of the wedge as a fire team file that has kind of opened its wings, if you will. When I'm explaining a formation, I sure as fuck expect you to be looking at the actual formation, not staring around at the goddamn tower. Yes, I can see you. Now when it comes to who goes where in the formation, again, team leader is on point, but that's not set in stone. You got a better point man, put him on point. However, what is set in stone? The strong side is the side that has 2 guys on it. Now, by default, with the team leader being on point, which is generally a good idea for the wedge, because of the fact that your strong side is going to consist of your automatic rifleman and then your rifleman. Right, so if the formation is called for a wedge strong side right, which is exactly what you see here, you've got the team leader on point, the AR on his 5 o'clock, and the rifleman at the 5 o'clock of the AR. Now on the weak side, you have the grenadier over on the 7 o'clock of the team leader. Now, this is where the fire team file really comes into play. Is if the fire team file, or sorry, the wedge, if the wedge is engaged, so say you guys are traveling in that formation, and you get engaged, this wedge can very easily become a skirmish line. All right, a skirmish line is a horizontal formation, if you will, used to engage a target. So essentially that wedge would just open up into a horizontal line. Now that team can start pouring down fucking hate and discontent at a wholesale level. All right, everybody tracking on that?
Yes,
Yes,
First
First
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
All right. Now, moving on to the next formation. This is a squad file. Okay, so you're watching a little red box. You have a fire team file here. And you have a fire team file back here. In the center here, you have your squad leader and your squad medic. Okay, so this works the exact same way as the fire team files that we just went over. However, it's just 2 of them put together, and you have your squad leader and your squad medic in the center of the formation. Now, this has all the same pros, all the same cons as the fire team file. It's just a little bit larger. Now, where this comes into play more so, what you see here is somewhat demonstrated. It's not spaced out as much as it would be because we just don't have the room for it. This is somewhat demonstrating traveling overwatch. Okay, traveling overwatch is essentially when you put one element a decent distance out in front of another element whilst you're traveling. Okay, this acts as that lead element kind of acts as a shield for the rear element. So what that's used for is if they're traveling in this formation, and imagine that they're spaced out a little bit more, this point team up here would be 50 meters or so out in front of the squad leader and the squad medic back here. If they're traveling in this formation and this point team gets engaged, they can now fall into that skirmish line that I was talking about a minute ago and start providing a base of fire. Once they're in that skirmish line and providing a base of fire, Now this trailing team back here becomes a maneuver element, and they can maneuver around the enemy and eliminate them because of the base of fire provided by that point team. Alright, everybody tracking on that?
Yes,
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Now, traveling Overwatch isn't necessarily used all that much with a squad file, because a squad file isn't used all that much. Right? There's not a whole lot of sense in having all that firepower that you can't use to the front or to the rear. So, the more commonly used squad formation is this one here, where the red box is now. This is a squad column. Now, a column is any vertical formation. Right? So, a column can change as far as what formations the teams are in. Generally, the point team is always going to be in a wedge, because again, that's the most secure formation. The trailing team, that can differ. They can be in a diamond, like what you see demonstrated here. They can be in a file. They can be in another wedge, mirrored wedge, whatever. But this is the most commonly used squad formation. Reason being, it works very, very well for traveling Overwatch. Because again, if you imagine this point team 50 meters or so out in front of this formation, and that point team gets engaged, now that wedge can open up into that skirmish line, and that trailing team back there behind the squad leader and squad medic can immediately maneuver around to the left or the right and hit the enemy from their flank. Alright, everybody tracking?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Alright. Now the next formation, moving down there. If you need to move around to see it better, go ahead and do so. So, this is a squad line. Now, line is any horizontal formation. Alright, so just keep in mind, column is vertical, line is horizontal. So a squad line basically consists of two fire team wedges, and they're mirrored from each other. Right, so you have a strong right wedge on the right side, you have a strong left wedge on the left side. Very, very simple. Then you have your squad leader and your medic in the center. Now, hopefully you can see it, but the squad leader right in the center, covering direct front, the medic is directly behind him, covering the 6. So if this formation took a short halt, that squad medic would spin around and cover the 6 while everybody else is picking up their sectors. Now, squad line is used basically when you know there is contact to the front. All right, you know that you are going to be engaged very soon. You will fall into a squad line and start pushing forward. All right, think of it kind of like cavalry would be used back in the day. They would put all the cavalry on line, start slowly pushing them forward until they got close to the enemy. Then they would pick up speed and basically just run them the fuck over. Kind of the same concept. All right, you get on line with each other and start pushing, or sorry, you get into a squad line and start pushing. Any target that presents itself is eliminated while you continue pushing forward, if you're able to continue pushing forward. Now that being said, a squad line, if you're told to get into a squad line formation, that is completely different than someone telling you to get online. All right, I know it can be a little confusing, but squad line is the formation you see here. If someone's telling you to get online with someone else, they're telling you to join that skirmish line. Okay, so if you're coming up to another squad that's engaged, say you're coming up there to support them, which is what weapon squads do all the time. The point squad is generally a rifle squad. They're going to get engaged first. They're going to set up a skirmish line. Generally, the second squad in an order of march is going to be the weapon squad. They're immediately going to push right up into the ranks of the rifle squad and reinforce them and start putting the machine guns to work. So that squad leader, that weapon squad leader, is going to call his teams on the radio and say, all right, get online with so-and-so. So those team leaders are immediately going to push up, join that skirmish line, fill in the gaps, and create a big horizontal fucking engagement line to start suppressing the enemy so that the other rifle squads behind them, one can maneuver and one can provide security. All right, everybody tracking?
Yes,
Yes,
First
First
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Right. Now the next formation we're going to cover is way down at the other end there. So again, if you need to move, go ahead and do so. This formation is known as a staggered column. Alright, now remember we said column is any vertical formation. So, these guys are in a column, and it's a staggered column, hence why these guys are offset from each other. You notice the guys on the left side of the road are offset from the guys on the right side of the road. Imagine they're along the side of a road. Now, a staggered column is used in two different situations. Either one, we're moving along a roadway or doing a road march, or two, we're escorting vehicles. Now, the first one, in a road march, if we're moving along a large MSR or an ASR, and if you don't know what a MSR or ASR, MSR is a main service route, basically a main road. ASR is an ancillary service route, basically a secondary road. All right, there's also OSRs and shit like that, but main stuff you're going to deal with is an MSR or an ASR. You don't understand the fucking difference. MSR would be basically a highway. No, I don't mean a freeway. I mean a highway. Yes, there is a fucking difference between a freeway and a highway. So an MSR would be a highway. An ASR would be a city road. Alright? So, we're moving along roadway in a road march. We're going to be in this formation in a staggered column. Again, generally team leaders are up on point, but that's not set in stone. Main thing to maintain here is the spacing. Notice the spacing that each of these guys have between each other, and that they're offset from the guy across the street from them. Now, the biggest thing to keep in mind with this formation especially, but really with any formation, is your rate of movement, right? If you are told to be moving at a speed of jogging with your weapons down, then you need to ensure that you are, right? If you exclusively play in first person, that's perfectly fine. But where it does become an issue is if you can't tell if you're crouched instead of standing, or if you're leaned over to the right instead of standing straight up, because that will cause you to move slower than everybody else that's standing up straight and jogging. So if you're incapable of managing your own rate of movement and you're in this formation, you are going to cause a slinky effect in that formation, especially if you're up on point. You're up on point and supposed to be moving at a jogging pace with your weapon down, and you're crouched and trying to jog along, you're going to move slower than everybody else, and they're going to be running into the back of you. You're going to cause a slinky effect all the way down the fucking formation. Now, you may not think that's a big deal, considering what you're looking at there is one squad in this formation. However, when you take into account that the entirety of a ground task force consists of over 50 guys, and they will be in this formation with you, that spreads for quite a fucking ways down a road. Now, if you cause a slinky effect all the fucking way down it, it's going to be a pretty big problem. So make sure you pay attention to your rate of movement and your body positioning. Now, that being said, the second use for this formation, escorting vehicles, pretty simple concept. Alright, if we're moving into a potentially hostile town, we will dismount the trucks, set up, and we'll walk the rails, meaning each side of the road, and lead the vehicles into the town. We will always push infantry a good 30-50 meters out in front of the truck. Reason for that being, those trucks are gigantic fucking bullet magnets. So if we have an entire squad just sitting inside the truck, they are doing dick all. And if you roll those trucks into a town that is potentially hostile, and some random fucking ass bag in black pajamas decides to pop out around a corner and hit that truck with RPGs, now you potentially have 10 fucking guys that are getting burned up inside a truck. As where alternatively, if you use the proper method, get your happy ass out the truck, push out in front of it, and act as a sensor for that vehicle. When same said ass bag in black pajamas pops out around a corner with an RPG tube on his shoulder, he gets shot in the fucking face with 5.56 and doesn't have a chance to hit the truck. Alright, everybody tracking?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright. Now the last thing to keep in mind when it comes to these formations. When you are told to move, that means move now, unless told otherwise. Right? It does not mean move 30 seconds from now, 5 minutes from now. It means move immediately. You have to understand, you are a very small cog in a very big machine. An entirety of a task force consists of 60 people. So, if your fire team is told to move, and you stand out in an open field for 45 seconds with your dick in your hand, trying to get the perfect wedge formation so you look cool, you have now slowed down 54 other fucking people because you want to get a nice wedge formation going. And you're just standing there. Don't do it. You can fall into a formation whilst you are moving. It is not difficult. You are told move bearing such and such for so many meters. Roger. And start moving. While you're moving, you can fall into any goddamn formation you wish. Alright, is everybody tracking on that?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Alright. Does anybody have any questions on any of the formations that we have covered?
No, First Sergeant.
Alright. Go ahead and move down the tower.
I think we just had a recruit pull off the tower.
That worked out for you, huh?
Around First Sergeant.
Just because we're air assault doesn't mean it's this goddamn air assault tower. Sergeant Myers, go ahead and patch him up.
You?
Oh, Ron, you think I don't know how to maths? Well, me as a task force commander and my staff medic that run in the center of the formation don't get slowed down by some asshat running the rails super slow. Hence, 4-man fire team. 2 guys. 60. I would never fallen off the tower, so. I go up that motherfucker once a goddamn week. I've rappelled off it a shit ton of times now that we got that rappelling mod.
Thank you, Sergeant Myers.
Need morphine? Can you see alright?
Yeah, I could use some morphine.
Stand by.
Alright. Well, we're gonna head back to the S3 staging area, so you can fucking change your tampon back there. Follow me. Walk up to flag, highlight the S3 staging area, and scatter yourself over there. Alright. Go ahead and stand by here. Sergeant Myers will take care of your fucking boo-boo in a second. propelling working now after the dirt patch they put out? I don't know, the patch broke it. Find out real quick. Hey, Sky and Wolf. Heck, that damn template loading. Yep, seems to be working fine. Never mind that barbed wire I just ran into. What are we doing today? Same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try and take over the world. Oh, I mean, OSUT. Alright, gentlemen. While we're waiting for the next course to load, I'm gonna give you guys a quick 5 minutes to go take a piss, grab something to drink, fucking rub one out, whatever the hell it is you're gonna do. You got 5 minutes. Your time starts now. Alright, we are back. And Braxton, thank you for the follow. Yes, we actually have training. We have recruit training, and then we have OSUT. Recruit training is just a matter of getting your mods squared away and making sure you have the proper loadouts. Then OSUT is 4 days of teaching you the very basics of being an infantryman.
I will PT you all until you fucking die!
And thank you for the follow. Oh, look, it's a faggot. Oh, that's Myers. Alright, everything is done loading. Your time is up. Got all 4 of you back here.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to be heading out to the movement range, going over some of the basic types of patrolling that we do, teach you guys the fundamentals of patrolling, so on and so forth, teach you how to actually move through terrain and how to communicate whilst you're on patrol by using a couple of different reports. Now that being said, the reports that we're going to go over, such as ADRAC reports, SALT reports, salute reports, not SALT. ADRAC reports and salute reports are important to know, as well as SALT, even though we don't go over SALT reports. They are important to understand what they are, what purpose they serve, so on and so forth. However, as essentially underpaid heavy equipment operators, you guys really don't need salute reports. It all boils down to the 3 Ds that Sergeant Myers would have went over yesterday. Distance, direction, description. You have those 3 pieces of key information, you can find anything and kill it. Alright, salute report and ADRAC reports are basically an overcomplicated version of the 3 Ds. Alright, so we are going to go over them, so at least you know what they are, understand what they mean, but just keep in mind that they're essentially the same thing as the 3 Ds. Alright, so Sergeant Myers is going to lead you guys out to the movement course and start going over some of the fundamentals of patrolling with you guys. Sergeant Myers, go ahead and lead them out there.
Hey, First Sergeant, go ahead and head over to the flagpole. And stand by. First Sergeant, I think you're going to need to telepause. It's broken again.
God damn it.
You can click
Yeah.
on movement course in the second.
I blame you.
Sergeant.
Second one works. Yep, alright. Disregard that. Yeah, take the second.
I think Arma right now is $39.99, and then the Apex edition is I can't remember if it was 60 or 70. Alright, looks like they got it squared away.
Alright, so there are 5 principles of patrolling. The first of which is planning. So, before you step out, you always want to step out with a plan. But you guys need to remember that upon first contact, everything goes to shit. But it's always good to step off, at least with a general idea of what you want to do. Second one is recon. Always want to have some form of recon. You want to know what you're heading into. What
Oh,
you're
so
expecting. It can be
well, I got Myers here, fucking running his cock holster for me.
Even maps.
I need your guys' advice on something.
Have a
So,
drone in the air,
the raffle
camera on it where we can see where we're
is
heading.
doing better than
Purpose-
I ever
purpose
expected it
for you
to.
guys, you can use your eyes, your
And at
map,
this point,
have a terrain you're gonna come
I was
across,
going to add the Corsair Schematar Pro mouse that I have, same exact one that I use to the raffle. if we were able to raise enough over the goal that we already had. And we did that within a couple hours yesterday. So, that being said, a fourth prize has been added to the raffle. Now, that being said, I'm not really sure what else to add to the raffle. Because I don't want to... The whole reason I made the raffle a month long is because I figured it would take that long to get enough to be able to, you know, give away the 1080 and the keyboard and the headset. But we still have 2 weeks to go before the raffle is drawn. But I don't really want to give away like 15 things. I don't want to be sitting there for 30 minutes in the podcast, you know, drawing winners and shit. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. If I should add one more thing or two more things to the raffle, or just leave it at the 4 prizes and actually start getting paid again.
Go recon Washington DC.
My phone number, yeah.
Washington DC is a big fucking place. So the next step to a reconnaissance patrol would be an area recon, which would be recon a specific location. So this would be, you know...
Shit, Cope, with how much you support me, I'll give you my goddamn address.
Which is definitely more doable. And the next is a route recon. This would be reconnaissance of an enemy and terrain of a route. So an MSR, an ASR, somewhere where you know enemies frequent and they could possibly patrol. So a good example of this would be go recon the route from the White House to the Pentagon. That is something you can, you know, plan out on a map and execute. The next type is combat patrols. The first stage of combat patrol is attacking. So this will be a patrol to attack and occupy a certain position. This means you don't necessarily have an extract plan. You're going to be moving into an area, you're going to be eliminating any hostiles that you come across in that area, and you're then going to hold that area and secure it. Next type is a raid. You guys hopefully know that a raid is just an attack with a planned withdrawal. So, example of last time is you're going to go move into an area, eliminate any hostiles in that area, and then you're going to withdraw. The next is an ambush. Ambush, as you guys will hopefully know as well, is just a surprise attack on the enemy with a planned withdrawal. This is generally used across trails, roads. For example, is if a squad is patrolling, you're gonna, you know,
take a 4K 22-inch monitor. Shit, we'll both take one.
That would be the definition of an ambush. Okay.
Alright, well, it seems like the general consensus is to leave it at 4 and actually get paid again, which obviously I'm not going to turn down because I haven't made any money in 3 weeks now. Alright, we'll leave it where it's at for now with the 4 prizes, and I'm still going to run it for 2 weeks because I want to give plenty of people opportunity to get entered in. That was actually one thing that I was worried about when I first started the raffle, is that there was only like 5 or 6 guys entered at first. But now we're at like 22 entries for the raffle. So it is starting to pick up. We're getting more people entered in, which is nice.
The support elements provide the base of fire during attacks, and they allow the assault element to maneuver around the assault element. It's self-explanatory. The name you have, you know.
Well, it'll be Vertigo. It'll be a little while before I do another raffle, because I'm gonna be hooking up with Weewoo, and he will probably be doing one. I'm not gonna say for sure that he is, but we discussed it before I even started mine. So when mine ends, he might pick up and start doing one.
So your security element provides security to patrol. They coordinate the objective, allowing no one to enter and no one to lead. So again, we'll go back to this compounds. If we take a compounds, you'll have.
Yeah, I never expected it to do as well as it has. You know, and there's been multiple guys that have, you know, put in a lot of money to help out and get that raffle going and make sure that we had all of the prizes.
Got any questions about different types of patrols, anything like that? Different types of movement. Okay. Next, we're going to look at different methods of moving. So this is the methods that you guys will execute into successfully moving in a manner which is best for the environment that you're in. So, first one is bounding in Overwatch. This is used to cover open ground pretty quickly and still providing pretty decent protection all around. This operates with a covering unit and a firing movement, so your covering units are authorized to fire if any targets pop up.
No, we do not have a mic lined up. Aaron, if somebody's in TeamSpeak, shoot him a message real quick. Get the donkey or something.
This is squads. Fire team Alpha would pop up. They would move, you know.
Oh, Cope. I love it when you talk dirty to me.
While they're moving, Bravo will be there, looking out, suppressing any enemies that are in there. If they see an enemy, they need to drop them.
Thanks, babe.
Anything like that.
Hey, don't smart.
A good thing to know about this is the 3-second pass in open terrain, and in the unit what we use is I'm up, he sees me, I'm down.
Call it 3-second rush, Myers. Jesus.
Across the field and you see an enemy, you need to think.
There's with motherfuckers from the UK having shit memory.
And that gives you 3 seconds because it takes 3 seconds to accurately engage a point target. So if you see someone and he's looking at you and you're looking at him, you're up, drop down prone because he's seen you, and then you're down. What that means is hopefully if you have some sort of foliage around you, he's not going to be able to accurately engage where you are. And this is only really to be used if you have absolutely zero cover available to you, any solid cover. The next type of movement is alternate bounding. It's a much faster way to move, but it's less safe. The way you guys think of it is
too proper.
It's a leapfrog movement. Each element moves past one another, so Alpha will move 15 meters up, and then Bravo may move, 20, 25 meters up. You guys are just leapfrogging each other, going up.
Yeah, you would if I had hair.
Bounding Overwatch. As one moves, one is always covering. So yeah, it's pretty simple. The next is successive bounding. This is slower, but
yeah, Soto should be flying tonight. Tonight is his task force.
The element that moves first is never moved past. All other elements have to stop at their position or in line at the holding point. So this means that the element on the left-hand side will move up.
And a pretty heavy equipment operator, truck driver. Yeah.
And the element on the right.
That's what Aaron does.
And get in line with them. This means that you always have a solid skirmish line, base of fire line, whatever you want to call it. But you guys are always going to remain in order. This is not to say that any of these methods you have to stick to one where you're moving. A lot of times squad will just change it on the fly. You'll either successively bound or you'll alternatively bound, and this depends on what cover is available to you guys. Next different type of movement is peeling. Peeling is used to disengage from contact and move towards cover while providing returning fire. While you're peeling, again, the clue's in the name of what you're doing, and we'll go into a live example of this so you guys can see, because it's pretty hard to explain in words what you're doing, but it's important to remember when you're peeling you need to verbalize when you're moving and when you're set. Again, in the game you're a lot less aware of what's going on, so you do need to verbalize everything you're doing, because you can't assume that the guy next to you is knowing when you're moving and when you're set, because that's just not how it is. So if you're ever moving, you need to call.
Damn, I'm hungry. I should have made some fucking lunch before I started this shit.
To provide any sort of covering fire, you're in a position where you can return rounds, back down range, and nothing's obstructing you. Peeling. The last little bit of it is once under cover, fire team leader or squad leader continues the mission, so you will peel to generally disengage from any sort of contact. This is when you want to move in a lateral type of way, to the left or right, instead of just going up and down. Next form of movement is breaking contact.
Alright, thank you, Aaron.
The Overwatch, bounding Overwatch and peel can all be used to break contact. What breaking contact basically means is disengaging from whatever you're engaging.
The donkey is inbound.
Move. That doesn't mean that you stop firing. You will continue to put guns on target while you're disengaging, because it just makes no fucking sense. Why? I mean, yes, you guys will need to disengage at some point and move, but that doesn't mean, yeah, like I said, do not just stop firing and start disengaging. You guys will all be just fumble fucks running away, while the enemy can give you rounds down range. This is why we use these different types of methods, which means that you guys will only disengage partly at a time. Because you have your other buddies putting rounds down range for you, giving you cover while you move. Next one is squad and fire team rushes. This is movement in a much longer distance than bounding. One fire team can provide covering fire, while another fire team makes a 100-meter rush to a wall of an enemy compound. This is generally used when, and this tends to be the case a lot for us, is where we get up to the last bit of cover before we're at a compound and there's a decent amount of ground in between us. For example, it says here 100 meters. If there is 100 meters and you guys have no...
Yeah, that better not be a picture of food.
And the compound, then you're going to want to call a rush. So you'll tend to have...
Oh, it's a
for
fucking...
example, Alpha...
The hell did it show up as a link?
Fire, and Bravo is just going to fucking beeline it as quick as they possibly can across that open ground. You guys can utilize smokes, but you need to get to the...
I actually got a new...
Yeah, this doesn't generally get cold, it's just kind of...
emote
no cover.
for subs today for $9.99 subs.
Shit can go wrong,
let's see, what is it here?
But if it's the only option, it is the only option. You guys will need to use it. Does anyone have any questions on what I've just gone over?
No, Sergeant.
No, Sergeant.
Alright.
Damn it.
Next we're going to go over cover and concealment.
Why didn't that work right?
Firstly, can anyone tell me, just put C or Q or stand up, say your name, the difference between cover and concealment is?
Cover stops the bullets, concealment makes it...
I don't know. That's supposed to be the command for the...
Yep, pretty much.
New fucking emote for $9.99, but yeah. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, okay, you guys see it. Alright, so it's just different for me because I have a different chat.
And especially hard cover. So hard cover counts as trees, walls, defilade, etc. Anything that can sustain long periods of damage to small arms fire, walls, buildings.
Yeah, it's because I have a different chat program.
When it is effective against small arms, it's usually not effective against tank shells or anti-tank rockets and grenades. So unfortunately, a wall isn't going to stop a tank missile from killing you, but it will stop 7.62 killing you. Next is concealment. So, like you said,
Yogi, you can use the flag, jackass.
But it does not protect you from anything. So, example, this is bush, foliage, tree lines, not the actual trees itself, but anything that make it hard to see you, but it's not going to stop a bullet. Can use smoke to cover large open areas that your team may need to cross, and that will conceal your movements. Another great way of concealing your movements may be vegetation in between you and the enemy. So whenever possible, if you can stay out of an open field, do it. Use vegetation, use tree lines, use whatever you can to break that line of sight. The next is defilade. Defilade is really important. We use it all the time in the unit. It puts solid cover between in front and above you. So basically,
yeah, you just wanted to feel special.
On a slope or a ditch, and you hide in there, you're covered from direct fire, but not indirect fire. So it's not going to save you from a mortar, but it is going to save you from direct fire. It also conceals you. The only issue is your back is usually exposed, so you will need to switch and again maintain 360 security if you're in concealment. If you're in defilade, good example I like to use is ridge lines. If you're moving along a ridge line, along the back side of it, yes, whatever is to the other, whatever is on the other side of that ridge line cannot see you, but whatever is on your side of the ridge line can see you, and you're a big fucking target because ridge lines tend to not.
Oh, and for the podcast this week,
so you will, you know, a soldier walking along.
Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It'll be a little bit of a lighter mood, I guess, in comparison to last week. Me and Shannon were talking about deployment and so on. This week we're gonna reminisce a little bit. Gonna take a idea from one of my Patreons and go over some of our favorite memories from our time in the unit, some of our favorite memories in operations and so on, as well as I'm going to be talking to Mr. Copenhagen guy himself,
Get, do it as slowly as possible.
That'll be a pre-recorded portion because unfortunately Cope isn't available on Wednesdays. So me and him will be sitting down probably tonight and just kind of recording a little bit, and we'll listen to that on the podcast Wednesday and go over Task Force Charlie and Task Force Bravo, and then me and my other guests will go over our favorite memories from previous deployments and shit like that. Damn, Walmart giving you the shaft, yeah. The podcast is right here on my Twitch. Well, my Twitch and my YouTube. But yeah, every Wednesday, 1800, do the podcast, and then once the podcast is over, it all gets pulled down off of Twitch and YouTube and gets sent over to my Patreon. My Patreons get early access to it. Otherwise, you have to wait for a week to be able to listen to it on YouTube. Vertigo, I wish I could have clips of it. I probably could from some of Franklin's old shit. Just because the like really good memories I have from deployment are from 2 years ago, back when like me and Hammer were team leaders and shit. So the only person really that has video footage of any of that would be Franklin, because I wasn't recording anything back then. Oh yeah, I forgot we were supposed to go over your fucking OBS settings and shit. That's why you just need to fucking message me. You have me on Steam. Fucking message me on Steam and be like, hey, fucking tell me how to do this. Every Wednesday, Steelwolf. Wednesday at 1800. At 6 p.m. Eastern. So we do the podcast, and then right after that we do the Secret Squirrel mission with LaRue.
That lets the trailing element know that they're now free to move across and set up security on the other side. Whoever the last person is to cross the danger crossing needs to call they're the last man. That lets these guys on our side of the road, that lets them know that they're not expecting anyone
Super
else to
pissed
cross,
from work, yeah.
they can get up and move.
That'd be fucking corporate for you.
The trailing element becomes the leading element, and the
fucking
guys
Walmart.
security are now the trailing element. Anyone have any questions?
No,
Yes, Sergeant.
Yep, go on.
Alright, while they're going over this, I'm going to top off my coffee real quick. I will be right back, guys.
Do they immediately go check the danger area, or do they call out to the rest of the squad or team?
They will. The best communication is letting people know exactly what you're doing. So I prefer it if it was my squad. If they said to me, "We're checking a danger area," that means that I know that we're going to be a little bit slow on the danger crossing, but it lets me know if I can't get eyes on them, I know that they're clearing out some danger area there. Yeah, I would always call it that you're clearing it out. It keeps that constant flow of information. Alright, let's keep moving. Hey guys, take a good look at this. You see these guys are spaced out. Another good point is you want the spacings to be enough that you can get a squad in a wedge formation through. You want to make it as wide as you can safely. I'm not saying you want to be 50 meters up the road, but what you're seeing right now is a pretty good example. This means you can get an entire task force through the road without blocking it, causing any bottlenecks, anything like that.
Alright. Back. On to cup of coffee number 3. Yeah, guys, I do have a schedule on the page. If you scroll down on Twitch, I try to stick to it as best I can. Not always a guarantee, with the obviously exception of the operation stuff.
You want us to do the movement course now first, Sergeant?
Yeah, get them over to that last course.
Roger that. Alright, guys. What we're gonna do now, we'll circle up. We're gonna head over to the white flag right over there, just to the east. And we're gonna move out. We're gonna do a dry run, so you can have your weapons.
Yeah, Moombot's a bit of a gold digger.
Nothing like that. We're just gonna do a
All she ever does is ask for money and shit.
formation that I want you guys in. We're gonna be moving out. I'm gonna give you different bearings, etc. Before we step off, does everyone have a micro dagger? They hit hotel. You guys should be able to see a little thing in the bottom left. Does everyone have one?
What is this supposed to be?
You hit hotel, little dialogue box or a little computer, whatever the fuck it's called. Android device should open up. Be able to see the map, what distance, what bearing you're looking at, etc. Anything like that.
I don't have that on my.
Not have a dagger.
No,
Stand by.
sorry.
Roger that. Thank you.
Above your pay grade, yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's go ahead and head over to the white flag.
Alpha and Bravo, this is actual on frequency 100. Radio check, over.
There is no fucking Bravo. Myers, Jesus.
Actual, this is Alpha. Read you loud and clear. Over.
Roger that. Stand by for movement orders.
At least he said Alpha and Bravo this time instead of Alpha Bravo.
Alpha, I want you moving out in a fire team wedge at a bearing of 067 northeast. Time now.
Yep, same Sergeant Myers.
Okay, load up fire team wedge. I'll be in front. Strong right. Actual, how far should we be moving?
I'll tell you when. Moving out bearing 067 to RP1. At RP1 we're gonna take a short halt and then stand by for more movement orders.
Copy that.
Yeah, but we're the ones that don't know how to speak English properly. Oh yeah, it was pretty good last night. We were talking about it afterwards, me and Drum and Hammer and Munson and all the guys. We were all bullshitting about it last night. Mostly about how Drum got set on fire and didn't realize it. You're laughing our fucking asses off, man. Is this thing on fire? Fuck yeah, it is.
This is the radio check on frequency 131, over. Leave it Charlie on frequency 31. Be advised, I'm currently standing by at the Bounty Overwatch course. I'll wait until you guys get here. Roger on last.
Oh, somebody did fucking Heckman last night, after we were all done hanging out bullshitting. Heckman clipped Drum's perspective and my perspective, and the
Sergeant.
two of them together was just fucking
Call a short
hilarious.
At that flag.
Copy that.
My favorite part was walking Drum's rounds in with the Mark 19. Like, that shit was badass.
Alpha, we're gonna take a short halt here. Take a knee.
People don't do that nearly enough. That's what they
I'll
should.
be advised we have a danger crossing to our northeast. Do you have eyes on?
Roger.
Go ahead and set up a danger crossing.
Okay, let's set up a danger crossing here.
Fucking hate when people do that.
Let's Troy.
Correct response is not Roger. Roger just means I heard you.
And,
Correct response would be
Zaz
affirmative.
And I are gonna look 148.
Why did he just bust all the way across to the far side of the road?
I do not know.
Zaz, move forward a little bit. Danger crossing set, actual.
I couldn't fit my dick through that gap, let alone a fucking fire team in a formation.
Jets, go ahead. Wrong. Go ahead and move back over to the white flag.
Okay, Alpha, we're gonna
What did they do wrong? Did they beeline it across the road?
Yeah, they set up far side security before they set up near side security.
Roger that.
Yeah, fucking schwacking that bushwookie was pretty sweet. But yeah, walking those rounds in worked really well. That was actually the first time Drum ever filled in for me when I was a team leader. I was still a PV2, and Drum filled in my fire team. And we were getting hit by a counterattack, and we had gun trucks there, and me and Drum are running around like to get in a new position, and there's this fucking truck sitting there with a Mark 19 on it, and nobody's in it. Like, nobody's around the truck. And we're like, who the fuck's truck is this? Nobody had any idea whose truck it was. And Drum's like, I'll take the fucking gun. I was like, alright, hop up in there. And we had these guys start coming at us, but they were on the back side of the town. Drum couldn't see him past the buildings, but I could see him from my position because I was like 50 meters to his left. And he started lobbing rounds over the fucking buildings, and I was walking those rounds in on target. It's fucking badass.
Okay, Lutz, you and me are gonna go now.
Almost.
Actual, this is Alpha, danger crossing, clear.
Roger that, Alpha. Alpha, when I call last man, that means I'm last man. That means you guys on the near side can get up and move. Once they're across the far side, should get up and move.
Roger that. Okay, Lutz, you and me are gonna go now to meet up with Actual.
Nope, go back.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go back.
Why is the team leader on the opposite side of the road of his battle buddy?
I don't know.
I'm coming over there.
The near side crosses first. Once they're across, the far side then crosses. Need you guys to move up to the rock formation to the northeast and stand by.
All of you come back here to the road. You guys know what one of the greatest qualities you can possibly have when it comes to military operations?
Communication?
No. That is one, but that is not the one I'm looking for. Anybody else got a guess?
Listening.
Close. Attention to detail. Attention to detail will save your ass a lot. Whether it be noticing small movements or listening to very simple fucking instructions, especially when asked if you understand it. So, for that reason, I am curious as to why the team leader is on the far side of the road and his battle buddy is on the near side of the road. Or how the far side security thinks they should be getting up and moving first, not 10 seconds after Sergeant Myers says, when I call last man, near side security gets up and moves across, and then far side security gets up and moves across. Now, I understand that Sergeant Myers has an accent, but I'm pretty goddamn sure he's still speaking fucking English. So, we're going to do this again. And I'm going to do everything short of drawing it out in fucking crayon for you. So go ahead and move yourselves back directly behind me. And you're going to set this up again properly. Move.
First Sergeant Brewer, can I ask a question?
Can you?
Is the battle buddy on, it's going to be on the same side of the road, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. So, we're going to apply a little bit of logic to this situation. I know it sounds absolutely insane. So, you guys are approaching a danger area in a wedge formation. Your strong side right. Alright, so your AR is on your right ass cheek. Team leader is on point. So, it would stand to reason that if the team leader busts left and the AR busts right, they set up near side security to the left and to the right, and boom, there you go. You now have near side security set within a matter of seconds. So then the team leader can call near side security set, and now the two guys that are the other battle buddies, the grenadier and the rifleman, can cross the road, clear out any potential danger or any potential hides, and then set up on far side. Once they set up on far side, they can radio the team leader, say far side security set. Once the team leader hears this, he can now radio actual and say, actual, this is Alpha, danger area secure. Once actual hears that, he can now cross the rest of the element. Once he crosses, call last man. Once near side hears last man, they get the fuck up and move across the road. And then they call last man so that the far side can get up and fall into formation with them. So the entire time of crossing a danger area should take no more than 30 to 40 seconds. Because you guys can set up security, the trailing team behind you can immediately push through that opening that you have now made across that danger area and just continue moving. They do not need to stop on the far side. They can just keep rolling because the squad leader that's following will call last man, the team leader and the AR will get up, move across the road, immediately start forming a wedge as they're crossing the road, and then when they call last man, the grenadier and the rifleman can fall into their positions in that wedge, diamond, file, whatever, and you guys can just flow right across. So is everybody tracking on that?
Yes, First
Yes,
Sergeant.
First Sergeant.
Alright, let's do it again and try not to fuck it up.
Okay, Alpha, we're gonna set up danger crossing. I'll look north. Troy, you look south. Near side set. Zaz and Lutz set up far side.
Far side security set. Over.
Actual, this is Alpha. Security set.
No, drawn out in crayon would
Roger
have
that,
been
Alpha.
me
Rest of the elements
taking
cross.
these three and showing them how to fucking do it properly with the four of us doing it. They
Last man,
cleared the
rest of
far
the team
side
pick up.
well enough. The only real hide on the far side would have been this rock, but not that huge of a threat.
Go ahead and long halt, set up 360 security.
Troy, you and me are gonna look northwest and north.
Yeah, may need a whiteboard.
Zaz
Fucking
and Lutz look south.
very well may.
Havoc 7, this is Archer.
Send it.
We got a long halt set up here. You want me to move him back over to the next stage?
Negative, not yet. Just hold there.
Say again last.
Hold there.
Roger that.
Alright, want all you guys to get up on a knee. Alright, look around you guys. See all these red arrows that are all around you? Everybody seeing these red arrows?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Mr. Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Who said no?
Private Rodriguez. Like the one over in the house.
There's one at 133.
Like that one there. Those two over there. One over there through the trees. The one's directly behind your fucking ass. Those red arrows.
I see it, First Sergeant.
Alright. Those red arrows are what some people would call a hide. Alright. Hide being anything enemy can, guess what? Fucking hide behind. Alright. Things like those areas, those rock walls, houses, windows, large rock formations, little pieces of defilade, ditches, causeways, shit like that. Those are the types of areas that you're watching while you're in a long halt posture like this. Alright, so when you got 360 set up and you're covering your sector, you need to pick out those specific places in your sector where there could be an enemy hiding or an enemy could be maneuvering on you behind that defilade. That is the kind of shit that you need to, upon setting up and getting eyes on a sector, you need to be able to pick out those areas and identify those hides. And that is oftentimes where, if, say, you're setting up in a position and you're defending that position, that is where one guy in the team will immediately bust out his vectors, generally the team leader, and start ranging. All right, you'll range different objects, key spots that are very easily identifiable. right? And you'll create a nice range table, right? It's always a good idea to have a pad of paper and a pen sitting by you while you're in an operation, all right? That is something that I always do. That way, if you do set up in a position for a fairly long amount of time, again, you can start ranging those objects, those key positions, and have it all written down in front of you. So if you do see something pop up there, you can look at that range table, have a quick idea of what range they're at without even having to pull a vector, range them, any of that shit. All right, you guys tracking on all that?
Yes,
Yes, Sergeant.
All right, let's move over here to the next course. All right, what we're going to be doing here is practicing some of your maneuvering. All right, and we're going to do that in the form of bounding Overwatch. Yes, there are targets down there at the end of the course. No, you will not be shooting at them. This is going to be a dry run before your actual live fire exercise. So, what is going to happen is one buddy team is going to take the left set of walls. One buddy team is going to take the right set of walls. When you are bounding, one element will call set covering. The other element will then call bounding, and then start moving. Now, bounding can be done at any level. Buddy team level, fire team, squads, platoons, so on and so forth. It can be done at any level. You guys are going to be doing it by buddy teams. So you have the added benefit of not having a delay of communication when having to call set and bounding. So you guys are all on one net. Now, normally, if you're bounding by fire teams in a squad, the team leaders have to take into account that delay of information, right? Because they're talking to each other on squad net. So when one fire team leader calls set covering and the other fire team leader calls bounding, he's not immediately going to start moving because he needs to pass on to the rest of his team first that they're bounding. If he doesn't, he's going to immediately start running, and then mid fucking movement is going to call out to his team, hey, we're bounding, and now you're going to be out there 15, 20 meters ahead of everybody else in your team all by your fucking lonesome. All right, so you have to keep in mind the delay of information in that situation. Now again, luckily for you, you don't have to worry about that because you're all on the same team net, but still keep that in mind for the future. Now that being said, when an element calls set covering, that means they are set up behind cover, and they're covering the element that is about to start moving. All right? It does not mean you're fumble fucking around behind cover trying to get into a position. When you call covering, that means your rifle is pointed downrange, ready to engage targets. Do not call covering if you're not ready to engage targets. Also, you do not fucking bound until they call set covering. Right? We do not maneuver unless we have another element covering us. Right? That is one of the fundamentals of fire and maneuver. All right, everybody tracking on this?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Sergeant.
All right. Rodriguez and Troy, want you guys on the left wall. Want the other two on the right wall. All right. At your discretion, one set call, set covering, the other one start bounding.
Set covering.
Bounding.
No, bounding platoons really isn't that bad. I mean,
Set
provided,
covering.
you know, you have people that know what the fuck they're doing.
Bounding.
You know, in, you know, a situation like this, yeah, it would be fucking horrible because it's, you know, the
Set
entire
covering.
platoon's not going to be made up of guys with experience that have had this shit drilled into their fucking head for weeks and weeks and weeks and years. I mean, that's oftentimes why movement
Set
and
covering.
maneuver is so fucking sloppy. I mean, we're taking guys that have no military experience and putting them into these situations where normally you would have, you know, weeks of BCT, weeks of OSUT, and then fucking months, if not years, worth of extra training with the unit you're in. So given their lack of experience and our inability to train them for fucking weeks before we actually put them into an operation, most of the time they don't fuck up too bad.
Bounding.
And reactive drop. Thank you for the follow. I know a couple more of you guys have followed. Sorry I was not able to thank you at the moment.
Why are you not up there with him?
You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
Bounding.
He's right next to him, dude. Chaos with the 10 spot. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for supporting the channel. Greatly appreciate it.
Okay, set covering.
Bounding. Set covering.
Stand by right here. You guys planning on doing a double Dutch rudder here in a second, or maybe a triple?
No, sir. No, First Sergeant.
And why in the fuck are you close enough to reach over and grab his pecker?
Yes, First Sergeant. Bounding. Set covering.
You're so ugly you
All right,
could be a
hold.
modern art masterpiece.
Hey, Code. Or Coed. Not sure how you pronounce it. Thank you, brother, for the 5 spot. I appreciate the support. If I still drank, I would have a beer on your dime. Thank you, sir. Alright, gentlemen. That was not horrible. You didn't look too much like a retard fucking a doorknob, but I've seen better. That being said, make sure you maintain your spacing. Right, just like I had to tell the two of you. You gotta keep that spacing spread out a little bit. Right? When you got fucking HE, whether it be RPGs or grenades, whatever that you're dealing with, and then you have IDF and shit on top of that, gotta make sure you maintain your spacing as best you can. Alright, use every inch of cover that you can use. Alright, anybody have any questions on what you guys just did?
Yes, Sergeant. First Sergeant.
Alright, you guys go ahead and move up here in front of me, just school circle. Well, I appreciate you bowing to me, Susie. It's not necessary. Lutz, question.
When calling bounding and set cover on the radio, should we be saying over at the end?
No, not necessarily. When it comes to speaking on TeamNet, it's nowhere near as formal as what we normally do. All right, because it's just the 4 of you on there. You guys are, when you get into your final team, your final billet, you guys are going to be working together week in and week out. So it's much more of a, not so much friendly atmosphere, but it's not necessarily as professional of an atmosphere. It gets more strict as you go up in nets. So like on squad net, yes, you're always using, or generally always using over. Not every single time. It's something that, because of the way TFAR works and the way you hear the stop when somebody lets off the key, people don't always say over, but you know that they're done talking. And it can be generally inferred from their message whether or not they need a response. But the higher up in nets you go, the more and more stringent radio protocols are. So while it's not necessary all the time to say over on TeamNet, that doesn't mean get into a bad habit of never saying it, because should you find yourself, a year, 2 years down the road in a command position, you're gonna need to use that every single time.
Yes, First Sergeant.
All right. Any other questions? All right. So, what we're going to be doing next is heading over to the live fire course. Now, this will be your guys' first opportunity to engage targets and get engaged. All right. Now, that being said, Sergeant Myers is going to kind of brief you on what you're going to be doing and how you're going to go about doing it. But the thing to keep in mind here, for all four of you, but especially Rodriguez, this exercise is designed to stress you out. It is designed to put you in that high stress situation that will make you lock up. It's our job to force you to make a mistake. And you will, I guarantee you. That being said, fall back on what you guys have learned over the last 2 days. It will help you. Alright, does everybody understand?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Alright, stand by for 1 hot second. Alright, let's see if these flags over here are gonna fucking work for me. Hey, it did.
To All right. Go ahead and move up to the between these two barriers right here.
Alright, go ahead and get them briefed on what they're gonna be doing. Get my shooters up the hill. Alright, stand by. I'll get you guys sent up there and get you an arsenal set up.
Thank you. Be gentle.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're gonna be
I
busy
won't.
there.
Alright. Now it's the fun part. Hey, Ty. Yeah, they're gonna be firing at live targets. Yeah, Thirsk is really nice. I fucking love that map.
Private Bollinger,
I
radio
just wish it
check,
was bigger.
frequency 3-1, over.
Lima Charlie, frequency 3-1, over.
Solid copy. Out.
Yeah, I really like Thirsk. I would love to fucking be able to use it for a deployment if it was bigger. Or even a fucking FTX map. Why is he standing on top of the Heskos like a gigantic fucking idiot? He's aware you can see over them, correct? Now he's probably injured. Yogi, check Rodriguez. See if he's fucking bleeding.
She fucking flew off.
These guys fall off of shit more than fucking Whitney Houston fell off the fucking wagon. Yeah, we'll probably play some Divinity, later on tonight.
Oh, what's up? Someone's bleeding.
I got some shit to do. You know, obviously we got the operation, and then,
Jesus Christ, I'm crying out that Whitney
I'm
Houston
gonna
comment.
talk to my buddy Cope for a little while after the operation. Mother Russia up there done playing Barbie yet?
Already. I'm ready.
Roger. Myers, get him behind cover.
Roger that. Alright, time's up. Get behind cover.
I could kill PV1 for the motherland.
Does he have a different definition of fucking cover, or is he just genuinely medically retarded?
Negative, I was briefing them about medical. I want a battle buddy on one, battle buddy on the other. At your discretion, you guys are free to move out.
Alright, course is live. Do him the fuck up.
Got it. Be gentle, please.
Nope. You need to identify where the fire's coming from first.
Smoke overrated, yo.
Fucking Christ.
Fire coming from 232. 23.
Hey, you think one of us should cover the other group? Nah. Stop setting a bad example.
No visual on contact.
Dickhead. Fired like a half a magazine at him.
I'm trying to get them to pull rounds down range. They seem really fucking shy about pulling the trigger.
Well, they're probably shy now that they had a fucking RPG explode on their sphincter.
Continue fucking moving. Put down rounds down range. Start moving.
Wolfpack, thank you for the follow.
Zaz, Lutz, covering. We're covering.
Bounding.
Did you tell him to use smoke?
Say.
Did you tell them that they can use smoke?
I did.
Set covering.
Yep.
Bounding.
You guys can move smoke if use smoke if you need to.
I love the sound of those fucking RPGs. I mean, when I'm not on the receiving end, obviously.
Is the smoke not pluming like it has been known to not
No,
do?
they just haven't thrown any yet. Oh, I just seen one. Granted, they threw it right in front of the fucking element that's supposed to be covering them.
Yeah, I'm trying to forward right now.
One focus dropped over there.
Medic, we have a man down.
Jesus Christ.
On my way.
He's over by the concrete barricades at 314.
Copy that, he's back up right now.
Okay.
Rodriguez, we're at the barricade.
The smoke being bugged out pisses me the fuck off.
Are you covering?
Covering.
Okay, Troy,
Yeah, that
you and me
fucking
are gonna
grad
get to the
engaging
barricade
us
too.
last night was great. Only twice now have I ever been on, or I think it's twice, I've been on the receiving end of a BM-21 grad.
Okay.
It's never fun. Gino Raptor, thank you for the follow.
No, we want to keep on going, move forward to cover.
Why are
Go
we all
take the
behind
sand.
one rock? This is not how you bound.
Roger.
We're covering, move it.
Get a buddy team to cover. Get a team to move.
Fuck is he shooting at the Hestos? Why in the fuck are they shooting at the Hestos where the flags are?
We have Private Lutz hit right behind the sand. Okay, Troy, you're gonna come with me. We're gonna go behind the house here, okay?
I'm down. I need a medic. Lutz is down.
Myers, did you slip these guys some glue to eat while I wasn't looking?
Yeah, medic Lutz is behind the sandbag and Rodriguez is hit behind the concrete barricade.
Well, they can put 40 mics on target. Unfortunately, it's the wrong fucking target.
Okay,
Be advised, there are no enemies at those fucking flags. Leave the flags alone.
Are you guys covering? Sir, are you guys covering?
Not yet. I'm bandaging myself.
Troy, spread out for me, okay? Don't stand next to me. Don't stand next to me. Are you guys covering?
1 second. Just bandage myself up. Covering.
Bounding. Oh, shit, sorry. Hang back. I need to bandage myself.
What's going on?
I'm bandaging right now, Sergeant.
Roger that, we've been sitting behind it for a long fucking time.
Okay, bounding. Come on, Troy, let's move up.
No fucking smoke whatsoever.
Rodriguez is hit. He's trying to crawl behind the house. We need a medic.
On my way.
I think I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm.
Yeah, well, I'll see you in the fucking hospital next to me.
I didn't think I was going to use more than 3 rockets.
Are you guys in cover?
God damn it, guys. I will be right back. I am off comms, 1 mic.
Yep, bounding.
Keep fucking moving, they've obviously got us raged in.
Holy shit.
I will PT you all until you fucking die!
Like shooting fish in a fucking barrel.
Zazuta's down. Don't move yet.
Fuck you.
I'd like to. I'll let him breathe now.
By the way, fucking ignore me crossing in between cover. I know I'm doing it, but I need to get from team to team.
No, I won't shoot you, don't worry.
We can't kill you anyway.
Covering.
Bounding. Come on, Zaz, over by the hill here. Or
Just keep moving, keep it up, keep the tempo up.
up behind the sand emplacement here, Troy.
Ow.
Covering.
Bounding. Covering.
Okay, Troy, bounding.
Alright.
Go and find those boys that are way fucking off. We're too close.
Duck on comms.
Covering.
Bounding.
See how long it takes him to realize his battle buddy's not with him. I woke back up.
I'm getting a T-far bug.
Just restart TeamSpeak.
Set. Covering.
Bounding.
Yeah, 40 actually landed somewhere near me, so.
Troy, over by these logs here, okay?
Back on comms.
Roger.
Covering.
Bounding.
Whoever the fuck is all the way out there on the west on his own, you need to tell him to bring it back in. Fucking Susie.
Set. Covering.
Susie, bring it back in.
10 to 1, he runs all the way across there with no fucking smoke, no nothing.
Get Susie to get his fucking bitch ass over back to these rocks. He's on his own all the way over there.
Susie, get back to the rocks. You're on your own.
I have a guy pinned down, and he's
Aw,
really
Myers,
trying
why'd you have to
a
throw
gunfight
smoke
with
for
me.
him?
Because I'm not that much of a cunt to let him run without smoke.
Are you guys covering?
I just dropped one. He was trying to get in a gun-to-gun
second.
fight.
We have Troy down. Medics on him.
Yeah, watch him.
Covering.
We have Troy down. Medics getting him right now. Continue to cover. Target at 338.
And Winter's Cube, thank you for the follow. Sorry I missed it while I was taking a piss.
Troy, are you good? Keep in contact with me, man.
What's going on? Why aren't we moving anymore?
We had somebody down. Bounding. Iron fence next to the propane tank. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up.
Disregard
Covering.
but it's on spot, it's on point.
Bounding.
There's a guy at 353.
Let's all get behind the highly explosive tank of flammable fucking gas.
Should we make our final push to the flags?
Yep.
Set. Covering.
What the hell is pressing?
Bounding.
Bollinger and Illyri.
Come on, Troy. Move, move, move.
Alright, they're at the flag. Ceasefire.
Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Safety your weapons, rally on flagpoles. Safety your weapons, condition 4.
Alright. Before I critique what I've seen from my point of view, Sergeant Myers, and actually before I have you go over your stuff here, can anybody tell me what that is?
That is a smoke grenade.
What is the purpose of yellow smoke grenade?
Concealment.
Concealment. Your guys' lack of throwing smoke grenades was fucking horrendous. I have seen more smoke at a fucking Grateful Dead concert than what you guys used. Hence why you got chewed up so fucking badly. Probably 90% of the maneuvers you did were not concealed by smoke. Because you didn't even bother to throw any in the first place. My instructors threw more goddamn smoke than you guys did. To help make up for your incompetence in throwing smoke. You need to use every tool that you have at your disposal. Smoke being a big one. A lot of the injuries you guys took could have been negated by using that smoke and allowing it to plume before you started maneuvering. Now, Sergeant Myers, as acting actual, anything you would like to point out?
Yeah, thank you, First Sergeant. Alright, back on the smoke thing. I am out of yellow smoke. And we moved...
394-13, thank you for the follow.
I have no yellow smoke left. Again, like First Sergeant said, that's fucking ridiculous. You guys need to utilize your smokes. They are, in this situation, your best friends. I was not on TeamNet. However, I imagine it was very fucking quiet. Because I couldn't, you guys were often sitting behind cover, no one was moving, can't imagine you guys were talking. Next thing, you need to call when you're moving and when you're set. Especially when, you know, you've got people around you. If they don't hear it on the radio, vocalize it. Don't just fucking, you know, sit there with your little fucking voice going, oh yeah, moving. No one can fucking hear you. You're in a combat situation, you need to fucking yell. You need to, you know, yell. You're moving, you're set. Let everyone around you know what you're fucking doing. And make sure they can hear them. There was a lot of times where I was just sitting there. You guys have moved on, I didn't even hear you call moving. You guys just fucking ran. Lack of communication means that people get left behind. Next, the ARs. Fucking, if you're an AR, take the corner. Especially these HESCO barriers. Use the fucking corners. You're the biggest casualty producing weapon we have. Bar the 249s. Sorry, the 240 Bravos. You need to get up, set up on a corner, and you need to put fucking rounds down range. I told you guys where the contacts were going to be coming from. We identified it very early on. They were up here to the north. The ARs, you need to use your fucking optics on there. You need to identify a target and you need to put rounds down range. You need to get their fucking heads back down before they can kill one of us. Take down one of us. Whatever they want to do, you need to make sure they can't do it. You understand that?
Yes, Sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Yeah, that's everything for me, First Sergeant. Thank you.
Roger, thank you, Sergeant. Sergeant Yogi, anything from medical side?
Thank you, First Sergeant. I just have two quick comments. First quick one is, if you call for a medic on squad net, you don't say who it is by the name, you just tell me if you're Grenadier, your AR, or your Rifleman. You don't tell me their name for reasons. But secondly, you know the difference between someone that's injured and someone that is down. If you're calling for a mic and tell me, oh, I got a man down, and when I get over there, he's shooting away completely fine, no injuries, and I get there going, what the fuck's going on? I'm going to have more questions than answers. Just remember, if someone's down, you call that he's down. If he's injured, like he needs to bandage himself, or he's come back ineffective, or he needs morphine, you call me. You know the difference between the two. But apart from that, that's all I have, First Sergeant.
Sergeant Myers.
Thank you, First Sergeant. One last thing. If you guys, Rodriguez, if you were one of my guys in my squad running a fire team, I'd be very fucking worried of the lack of communication. As a fire team leader, you need to be communicating with me all the fucking time. You understand that?
Yes, Sergeant.
I need to know what you're doing every step of the way. Like I said, I keep saying it. The flow of communication is what keeps us alive. It keeps us aware of the situation. Everything, First Sergeant.
All right. Sergeant O'Leary. Anything for him?
Yeah, I got a couple of things for Sergeant. Other than the lack of concealment, you guys just running around the field like a bunch of headless chicken. You guys are really easy to shoot at. Oh, sorry, was I on whisper?
Can you speak up?
Yep. Other than the lack of smoke, got a couple of things. When you're suppressing an area, how long do you think you should suppress it? Like, for instance, if you see a guy behind a desk barrier, you see his head, you start suppressing it, he gets down, how long do you think you should keep that area suppressed? Anyone?
Until your squad mates make it to the next cover.
Not the kind of answer I'm looking for. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna answer myself. You want to keep the fire up more than a couple seconds after a person you're shooting at has gone down, because you're gonna just chew up way too much ammunition, and it's gonna cost you dearly. So I was sitting behind one of the bunkers, and the sandbags in front of the compound was getting suppressed constantly by an AR. I lost count how long it was. You must have ripped through a whole mag basically doing that, and that's some bad shit. Don't do that. You're just wasting bullets, because once enemy has ducked down behind cover, keep suppressing the area, he's gonna move out of the area, pop back up at some another spot, so start shooting back at you while you're still suppressing that last known spot. So you're just wasting bullets. Just stop after a few seconds, wait until the target presents itself, and then shoot at him again to get his head back down. But don't keep suppressing one single area, even there's no one there, especially when there's no one there. And the other thing, when you're being suppressed, I see your head atop of a HESCO behind a mound somewhere. Start shooting at it, you hunker back down, and you pop up at the same spot a few seconds later. Can anybody tell what's wrong with that?
It's predictable, Sergeant.
Exactly, and that's what got a few guys downed at this course. So don't do that. Look for another spot, because he already knows you're there. So you need to maneuver. All right, that's all I have for Sergeant.
Roger. Private Bollinger.
Thank you, First Sergeant. Kind of echo a little bit of what Sergeant O'Leary just went over. You are being suppressed. Not try to get into gun-on-gun battle with someone who already has you zero. That's when you need to your communication, your smoke, maneuver away from where you are being suppressed. That's why you have cover elements, and that's why you work together as teams, squads, all the way up through platoons. That's all I have for Sergeant.
All right. Alright, as far as what I've seen from my perspective, obviously already went over the lack of smoke coverage. Right now, Rodriguez, I want you to do me a favor. Go ahead and crouch. Now stand up. Now crouch. Now stand up. Any of you guys ever played a game of whack-a-mole?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
That's exactly what you guys look like. A bunch of fucking moles. And that's what Sergeant O'Leary was talking about, popping up in the exact same spot. Makes the job of the enemy a whole fucking lot easier if you just keep popping out behind cover from the exact same position. Because as Private Bollinger said, they already have that position zeroed. They're engaging you, and you dip behind cover. They already have it ranged. They're ready to go. So when you pop back out in the same fucking spot, guess what? They're going to hit you in the head with a big fucking hammer. And just like Private Bollinger said, that is where communication comes into play. If you're being pinned down, do your best to locate where that fire is coming from. If you can't peek your head out there because you're being heavily suppressed, use your audio. You can hear gunshots. You can get a general bearing of where those shots are coming from. Relay that to the rest of your team. One of the other members of your element that's not being suppressed can engage that guy and either kill him or make him get down behind cover. Then you can start maneuvering. You don't want to pop out from behind cover and just sit there and start fucking shooting at the same guy that was just shooting at you, because again, he already has that area zeroed. So, while your buddy is suppressing him, you deploy smoke and fucking maneuver. Get out of that position. Alright, you guys tracking on that?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. Now, since I know that these two gentlemen standing on my right were the only two fucking enemies, quote unquote, on this course, I would like to know where the magical fucking enemy appeared right behind these Escos at the flags. Because I never seen it. No? Nobody else seen it either? Nobody seen an enemy running around back here behind the Escos, right behind the flags?
Can't recall for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
No? Sergeant Myers, you ever see a guy running around back here behind the Escos? Behind the flags?
Not First Sergeant, no.
No. Well, that's odd, because I definitely seen someone shooting at the fucking Escos, so that must have been there was an enemy sitting up here somewhere, right? No? Oh, maybe you just like wasting ammunition. There's no sense in suppressing a fucking target that isn't there. Just like Sergeant O'Leary said, alright? You see a target, you engage it. If he drops behind cover, continue to suppress the area for a couple seconds, and then stop. You're not doing anything but wasting ammunition. You engage threats as they present themselves. Or you do not just wildly shoot into an area thinking, yeah, there might be someone there. Right, that is why basically the ratio of rounds to confirm kills in a theater like Vietnam were 50,000 to 1. Yeah, 50,000 to 1 because of spray and pray stupid shit like that. 50,000 bullets to kill one enemy soldier. That was the average rounds it took to kill one NVA or Viet Cong in Vietnam. Now, as you can guess, that's not exactly an effective way to kill the enemy, which ultimately is our goal. So, moral of the story is, don't fucking engage unless you know there is a threat there. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, for
Yes,
Sergeant.
for Sergeant.
Alright. Now, last thing I'm going to touch on here is when you guys are moving from cover to cover, just like we went over 2 minutes before we got to this course, make use of the entirety of the cover. Spread the fuck out. At the end here, your entire team was right there. Now, does anybody have a guess as to the 2 reasons it's a bad idea to have everybody right there?
Explosive charges?
Can all get taken out.
RPGs, mortars.
Yep, so you have a high risk of HE being able to drop the entire team. Okay? So that's an obvious threat. What's the second reason it's a really fucking dumb idea to sit right there?
The tank could explode.
Hey, there we go. We have a large fucking tank containing what? We have no idea. For all we know, that could be LP gas. Fuck, for all we know, that could be JP jet fuel. We have no clue. I know I sure as fuck would not want to be sitting my happy ass next to a 500-gallon tank and have no idea what's inside of it. Lastly, the enemy was using what kind of weaponry?
RPGs.
I mean, they're small arms.
Machine guns?
Say that again, Rodriguez.
Small arms?
Alright, a little bit more specific here. They're using Russian equipment.
Oh.
What is the preferred caliber of Russian equipment?
7.62.
7.62. That's for their small arms. 7.62. That fucking big ass dishcum sitting up there is a 12.7 millimeter, which is essentially a 50 caliber machine gun. Anybody know what that fence back there is made out of?
Sheet metal.
Sheet metal. So it'll go
Corrugated fucking steel, the same shit that they put on the side of barns. You know what size round corrugated steel can stop?
5.56.
9 millimeter.
A fucking BB gun, maybe. 22 will rip through corrugated steel. So a 7.62 round that can rip through your fucking rifle plates in your vest probably isn't going to have too hard of a time with 1/8 inch thick steel. Now this is where situational awareness comes into play. Without situational awareness, you may as well throw your rifle down on the ground and let the enemy shoot you. You need to be cognizant of your surroundings at all times. I don't care how stressful the situation is. You need to be aware of where you are, where you're going to be moving to next, where elements are around you, so on and so forth. You need to be cognizant of that information. And that is where communication comes into play a lot. So you are cognizant of where other elements are around you, where you're going to be moving to, so on and so forth. All right, so you need to be able to look at a situation and within a matter of seconds know, okay, if something happens right now, I'm going to move there. If I move there and I'm immediately engaged, I'm going to fall back to here. Shit like that. So when you were preparing to move up to this final position, you need to be able to make that snap decision of looking at the cover available and say, okay, I don't want to go there. There's a gigantic tank of something I don't know. The only cover provided is a tiny ass little fence that I could fire through with my pistol. Oh, but hey, look, here's 2 big ass pieces of heavy construction equipment that are made out of thick ass steel and have very, very solid cover. I bet I can move to those. Those will stop bullets. Alright, you guys understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Yes, First Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Alright. Any of you guys have any questions on what we just covered? Alright, excellent. Now, as I told you guys day one, right? It's our job to point out your fuck-ups. Don't take it personally. All right? We have a very, very limited window of time to get you up to speed on shit that guys spend weeks, months, years training on. All right? So, when you fuck up, we have to point it out and correct it immediately. Because if you go into this unit, go into your final billet with a bad habit, that shit festers and spreads like fucking cancer. So it has to be cut out as quickly as possible. That being said, we're going to end it here for day 2. We'll get on to MOUT and vehicle PID and stuff next week for day 3, and then we'll go into your FTX for day 4. Now, you guys have had a shit ton of information thrown at you today. I hope you were taking detailed fucking notes, because it is stuff that you will continue to use throughout your entire time here in the unit. That being said, you guys made quite a few mistakes today. A lot of shit you can work on and improve. I highly recommend you do so. Take some time on your own to fucking look and see what you did wrong. Try and see how you can improve it. So on. Do some of your own fucking research if you need to. If you've never read the fucking Ranger Handbook, I can tell you now, it will help you a great goddamn deal. But that is going to be it for today. Right, so we'll be back at it next weekend, next Saturday, same time. And then we'll go into day 4 on Sunday. All right? You guys are dismissed. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant.
Alright, guys. Sorry, keep going. Yeah, LaRue, you're always late. See how it is. But yeah, guys, that is going to be it for OSUT today. We'll be back at it later on tonight for Task Force Bravo, where, again, I'll be doing Task Force Commanding. And then later on after that, we'll probably play some Divinity if I have time. Hopefully I will. But yeah, that's going to be it today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And I will see you all later.